All right, here we go. Okay, now we're official. I gotta apologize, Masha. Are you still there? Where's our Masha? Yeah, I gotta apologize to Masha because I love it. I would love it if you guys post up on the teams and I beat her to the punch on an article. So I'm gonna have to go a little bit slower, you kids on Apple News, right? You guys get it fast. So I feel bad about that, Masha, but boy, oh boy, you and I are looking at the same stuff. So that's cool. I thought that was neat.
No worries.
All righty. Okay. Oh, look at this. Okay. Well, here I'm going to do my good mornings, as I always like to do. Our Ashley is here. Ashley, it's good to see you. Kathy is here, and I think I'm saying that name right. Hey, Jasmine's on here twice. Wow, Jasmine. Very cool. Because she loves this class so much, she's got to be here twice. Right on. I like your style, Kathy. The rest of you guys could learn from her. We got Crystal. It's good to have you here, my friend. And we were just talking with, oh, wait a second. Yeah, we got two Emmas. So this is how you're differentiating yourselves. One's just Emma, and one's Emma Fillon is in the house with her lovely son, Ethan. That was nice to see. And we got not just one, we got two Jasmine Van Beans, because one ain't enough. So, Jasmine, good to see you here with that funky headset of yours. We got Jody Black in the house. Jody, thank you for coming along. Larissa is here. Last time we tried to talk to Larissa, but she didn't say anything. I think she just clicks it on and goes off. Don't you guys? I think she's like watching a movie or something like that, checks in every now and then. I could be wrong. We got our Masha. Good to see you, Masha, and I will go slow next time about good articles, but thank you for that. I thought that was cool. Megan Orkington, who was the very first one here, I do believe, Megan, and you had your camera on right off the get-go. That's so cool. And we got Riley Aronson is here. Where is she? Down there, over there. And then we got Salin. Good to see you, Salin. I love these single name things. Oh, it looks like, oh, wait a second. Oh, it's like Salin with a period. You guys see that on the name? That's very European. That's very cool. All right, we got Sandra Anderson here. As I said hi to. Hi, Sandra. Good to see you. We got our Trisha Brozite, Brozite, Okay. Oh, golly, Mark. And then we have Trisha Vincent hiding away in a storage locker somewhere. All right, yeah, big peace sign to you. All right, guys. So I got a couple of questions to sort of deal with today. I'm just going to go over again. You guys, oh, Crystal says I installed the Facebook Messenger app this weekend. It's frozen my camera or something. Going to try to sort it out. I don't know what you're talking about, Crystal, but I trust you. I don't have a cell phone. I'm not much of a technological guy, so I imagine that's a bad thing. All right, so Facebook Messenger app. Good luck there, Crystal. Good luck. Yeah, we'll just do I just want to do a check-in, see how everybody's doing. I got a couple of questions to ask. I'm curious, just to sort of start things off, for those of you guys that watched the Freedom Tour, which we think Trisha's sister-in-law's dad was at, right? Yeah, he's a cool, and if that's the guy, I've met him a couple times. I don't know what he does, but he's a cool dude. How did you guys feel about the Freedom Tour? Any sort of thoughts about the Freedom Tour, or when you're watching it, sort of made you think about something, or who's got a comment about that?
It was really brave of them to be able to go and back to where they were stored at one point in their life and revisit all that. And yeah, very brave of them.
You know, Trisha, if I can add to that, because I was at the premiere and I know quite a few of those folks in the movie, and Scott, he's the guy with thalidomide in my brain. He was in the movie a little bit, and I sat with Scott and I sat with a bunch of people, and I had to calm them down because they thought that someone's going to take a picture of who's in the audience and then send them back to the institution. Scott hasn't been in an institution since he was 25. He's my age. He's 56. and he's still afraid of being hauled off back there. So Tricia, you're absolutely right. The bravery is unbelievable what those people had to go through to go back, for one thing, and even just to talk about it. I've known Scott since I've lived in Winnipeg. I've known Scott for like 18 years, 20 years, and he won't talk about it. I know nothing. I know nothing about his time in institutions. Scott, because he was born with thalidomide, was in an institution at birth. You know, and can you just imagine his horror? All he has is flippers, and he can't see very good. That's it. That's it. He's as smart as you and I. He's as, you know, he's stuck in an institution with people with all kinds of different abilities, and he's not treated as a human being. Scott's an interesting dude. Someone gave him a radio, and that's all he would do is just listen to the radio. So when I sing with him, when I play music with him, he knows the words for pretty much every hit song from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, because it helped him survive. So you are right, Tricia. That bravery is just, I can't even understand that level of bravery. So thank you for that. We've got some comments here. Yeah, Celine, it was, it is, as I said, I had some tissues afterwards, and I hope you did something really nice for yourself afterwards, because it cries. When that Indigenous woman comes on and talks about how, well, I guess they need their jobs, I fall apart. I'm like a little boy with a puppy. I'm just crying and crying and crying. I can't take it. So, but it's good to cry. It's good to be a human. All right, so it's heartbreaking to watch. Yeah, they agree with Celine on that. Yes, Celine, the residential schools, well, that's what happens, right? You take people out of their home community and stick them far away in a locked up place, and bad things are going to end up happening. So there's a huge connection. It's residential schools are an institution too. Yeah, and that's where it brought me to from Tricia. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Crystal's at the beach. I guess she wasn't working on her Facebook thing. She was like getting a spot at the beach. Boy, that's weird. Okay, any other thoughts about the Freedom Tour? Any other thoughts? Yeah, Emma.
I just found it kind of really disappointing, because like a lot of families, like I guess like they didn't know what was gonna happen, but at the same time, though, I also kind of feel disheartening, because Canada was supposed to be seen as such a welcoming place to the rest of the world, but then yet they think that if you're not desirable for seen in one person's eye, then you're considered like a waste of space technically. So it's just disappointing how just because they don't like the way someone looks or the way that they act or think, they just think it's okay just to send them away, be like, here, go live a miserable life until you die. Yeah,
you'll have nurses take care of you. You'll get all your needs met and all that other kinds of stuff. You'll probably be raped and abused, but that's a secondary part of that. No, you're right. And there's an interesting history. I'm fascinated with the history of institutions and the rights of people with unrecognized abilities. And before Hitler got all this stuff going on in Germany, they sent a delegation out to the prairies, and they wanted to, because we had a big eugenics movement here in the prairies, which means, well, it's exactly what the Nazis did. Get rid of the weak and then only keep the strong. It's based upon an old farming principle, right? You kill the bad chickens so you have a lot more of the good chickens. And so they came here, spent some time with prairie people, and went back home and did the Holocaust. Sorry for being so flippant, but it's just so weird. And we still have that legacy today. So when we have those institutions are still up and running, we still have them here in the West, not so much in the East. They closed them down quite a few years ago. So it is a bit of a shocker, Emma, and a lot of us never knew. A lot of us, again, I'm always worried about showing the Freedom Tour, because some of you guys could have an uncle or an aunt that was in an institution and you wouldn't have known. And then you watch this movie and then all of a sudden your heart breaks, right? So it's It is sobering. The reason why, again, I'll reiterate why I showed that video, because I want you guys to know their history. It's amazing when we're in a daycare center and we've got these kids with us, kids with unrecognized abilities, all kinds of kids together. And I hope that just makes you cry tears of joy, where you go, oh my God, we've come a long way, because this never happened a few years ago. You know, this never happened in my time. When I went to school, we didn't have those kids. So I'm still around, right? So it's a fairly recent history of having inclusion. So I thought it was important to know where we've been to understand where we're going. So I hope it didn't upset you too much. Any other little comments about that movie? Did you enjoy the movie? Like, it's hard to say you enjoyed it, but did you think it was a pretty interesting flick? Yeah. Yeah, it blows my mind. And I think for myself, I lived in an institution town in Ontario with a psychiatric hospital. And I never knew what went on there. That used to be a place where we'd go smoke cigarettes, right? Because the people who were the clients of the psychiatric hospital didn't care we were 13. They gave us smokes anyways, right? So they were the coolest people. But it wasn't until I got older and worked in the psychiatric industry, I realized it's not a great place. Some bad things happen there. So sad, but we need to know that stuff. But today, if you haven't seen it already, today, one of your tasks are to watch King Gimp. I love it. It's an old movie. It's so positive. His mother, people, you've got to understand, his mother was 30 years ahead of everybody. His mother is an incredible pioneer in inclusion, Dan's mother. It also brings up the thing that people deal with, is that if you've got a kid with an unrecognized ability, you're going to have to do the fighting. And it's still like that today. And so that shows the importance of us being that support group and bringing people together. So King Gimp's a lovely one. Bring the tissues out, because as I said in the blog, if you're not crying at the end, you ain't human. I'm sorry, you're not human. You're not human. All right? A pox on all your house if you're not crying at the end. I cried like a baby when I posted it up, and I wanted to, oh, look who it is. I think you're being robbed, Trisha. I think there's a person with a mask robbing you, Trisha. Should we call somebody? You know, we had a Zoom meeting with all of community services the other day, and I faked stretching and then throwing out my back in the background. Nobody even cared. No. So next time I'm going to fake a heart attack and see what happens. My wife thinks that's a bad idea, but I think it's funny. All right, I know, Chelsea. Yeah, please give her my best there, Trisha, please. Oh, there was another chat here. I'm sorry if I'm all over the spot. Oh, Ethan's back. When someone in the video said they put them in there and forgot about them, oh my God, that was awful. That's from Trisha Benson. Yeah, it definitely pulled on the heartstrings. And as I said, there's a woman in the video with her daughter, and she's speaking for her daughter, Nicole, and she talks a lot about that, right? That the doctor said, go home, have more babies, leave them here, and she never did. She's an incredible woman too, incredible person. All righty. Well, I did not do that to make you sad. I hope I did it to make you think. And again,
I have something to add with that movie, actually, with the Freedom Tour.
Yes, Ashley.
I grew up mostly like in Selkirk, so they have like the Selkirk institution there. And when you growing up in that town, every single kid I knew, like, we were taught to fear the people in there. If you were in there, you were a scary, dangerous person, and if you saw anybody walking around, you know, unsupervised, you would immediately get scared. Granted, there were people that did escape and do bad things to people, but that's probably because they're in a dark place themselves, because clearly that's not really helping them at all. But it changed my perspective a lot to make me realize, like, maybe I shouldn't be scared of the people in there. You should be more scared of the people who are working there and treating people like that.
Yeah.
But it really made me think about all the like stereotypes and stigmas that were instilled in me growing up, just because I grew up next to a place like that.
Yeah, and Ashley, that's so beautifully said, I grew up in a very similar town. It was the same sort of thing, right? When the folks came off the bus and they were in town, we were all told to stay away from them. But again, maybe I'm a bad guy, but they would buy me liquor. I'm quite pragmatic in my diversity. You know, I don't care if you've got lobotomy holes. You're over 19. Can you buy me a case of beer? Here's an extra 5. It doesn't matter how you learn diversity, okay, folks? Don't judge me. Don't be sitting there and judging me, alrighty? But yeah, I lived in that same sort of town, Ashley. I used to, what town? Whitby, Ontario, home of the Whitby Psychiatric Hospital. And I had a band, my metal band. We were a big metal band in the early days. We were Canada's very first speed metal band. And we used to practice downtown Whitby, Ontario, under a clothing store. And our door was always open because we had all those folks come in from the hospital, would go to the jam room, go to our room, smoke cigarettes, and watch us play. And I remember a friend came over to watch us play, and he said, like, doesn't that freak you out? You got all these people with psychiatric illness sitting and listening to you. And I said, an audience is an audience. I don't care. I don't care. Who cares? But that shaped my attitude, Ashley. When I would look around at the people in my hometown, where they were not the nicest folks, and the interactions that I had with folks from the hospital were always nice. So I divided real quick, and they became, I became to know them, and then I ended up working in the industry in a group home. So, and plus mental illness, for heaven's sakes, folks. I had a friend from high school who ended up in the group home. Like, everything's fragile, so it's just ridiculous. So thank you, Ashley. And those community attitudes can be really, really terrible to folks, and it takes a bit of time. But Ash, I hear the things you say. I don't think you probably ever really fit in with small town Selkirk anyways. All right, I'm pretty good at this. Yeah. All right, I'm pretty good at this. All right, so today's class, we've got, please go through the narrated PowerPoint slide. Make sure you download it if you want to hear me. Go on the blog. I got some good stuff there, to keep you posted. I'm just looking at my computer again over here, just to make sure I'm all on. Go through all the materials. Please check out King GIMP. I've got some really good resources there. And please check them out. I got little videos and stuff like that too. But please, your homework for today is to watch King GIMP if you haven't already. And if you're so inclined, if you like Dan so much, because he is such a cool dude, they cut some stuff out of the movie, out of the original, so you don't get to see him sucking back Jello shooters and doing really bad stuff. And it's really nice because he's just a dude, and makes bad decisions like a dude. So if you're so inclined, you can even Facebook him and say hi, you watch the movie. He'll write you back. He's a really cool man and amazing artist. I love his artwork. Okay, so watch King GIMP. It's gonna warm your heart. Go through some of the other resources. They're all really good too. The big focus today is all on strength. In inclusion, and here's me getting on my high horse again. Ethan, I'm getting on my high horse, all right? I'm going, man, I'm going. In inclusion, everything's based on strength, not deficits. Okay, think about that for a second. When I first started this class, they said we're not going to talk about disabling conditions because they're deficits. Can you imagine if you're bringing home the person who's falling in love with you, Emma? Emma's got this brand new boyfriend she's already shacked up with in a year, right? She brings him home. She brings him home, and Emma's mom gives him the binder of all the stuff that Emma's crappy at. Read this, and then you'll understand Emma. Well, come on. You're not going to understand anything about Emma. We would never do that to each other. Oh, my God. Hey, Chelsea, this class is falling apart like in real time. I love it. I love it. My classes usually fall apart in real time anyways. Thank you, Tricia. You don't build it on deficits. You don't want to know the deficits. I got to know who you are. And we build on your strengths. Everything that I work with a kid is not based on deficit. I don't care. I don't care what you're not good at. I'm not good at a bunch of stuff, but I want to know what you're good at. And then I'm going to build from there. For example, if we're working with kids around friendship skills, right? Because really that's a big part of inclusion. Well, you should be doing activities based upon what the kid is passionate about and brings them together. That's why I have for you guys as an assignment, the learning story, right? Where you're going to build a learning story based upon the strengths and gifts of a child. You're going to talk to people. You're going to talk to your colleagues. You're going to talk to his mom, dad, guardian, or whoever's in their life. And you're going to find out what's their thing. What is their thing? And then you're going to do that thing in daycare. And you're going to photograph that thing in daycare. And you're going to tell me a story about what happened when you did that thing in daycare. How did it affect that kid? How did it affect the other kids? How did it affect you? All right. So that's why I have that assignment. And that's why I think that assignment is really, really important and really cool. Now, and the kid that you pick for that assignment, he can have an identified, unrecognized ability, or he can be a kid, or she can be a kid that doesn't just fit in and needs a little support. Okay, so some of you guys have kids out there that may not be identified, but I know you got kids out there that could use a little bit of support. So you can use that kid. So you have to create an activity based on that one kid. Try it out, document it, tell the story. I'll give you a quick little example. I have examples in the PowerPoint thing and all that, but I'll give you a quick example. I had a kid named Patrick in my program. And Patrick didn't speak English. I don't know what he spoke. He was an English-speaking kid, but he had some speech stuff and all that, and he just grunted and yelped a bit and all that other kinds of stuff. I'll tell you a funny story about Patrick. This was my luck with Patrick. He has no verbal skills. And I'm alone with him in the cubby area, way down the hall from the rest of the daycare center. I throw my back out. I can't stand up or move. I have to get Patrick to go and communicate to the other EC that my back is gone, but he can't put a word together. So I basically went into, wow, I'm going to treat Patrick like he's Lassie, and I've fallen into the well. So I said, Patrick, grab Carrie Ann, grab her, pull her to me, all right? She'll get mad at you, but pull her, bring her to me. And I could hear her yelling at him all the way down the house, going, oh, what are you doing, Patrick? Saved the day. So Patrick saved my life that day, and I had to be really clever. Patrick, he wasn't fitting in because of his language. He was 4. He wasn't fitting in. So I talked to his mom and dad, said, what's his thing? And they said, pirates. He loves pirates. So guess what we did in the daycare room? Pirates. We did pirates. And you could sword fight, because pirates that don't sword fight are called sailors. These are pirates. These are pirates. So we're sword fighting, making weapons and patches and bandanas and all that other kinds of stuff. Well, guess what happened when we did that one activity just for Patrick? There was 8 other kids that liked pirates too. Come together, friendships happen because of what Patrick was good at. All right. So that's what the focus of today is about. How do we use someone's strengths to build them? And let's not do the deficits. I didn't work with Patrick and go, please say, please put your lips together, please. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put pirate play, because guess what? Patrick's going to talk. Have you ever been with kids and you can't understand a single word they say, but the other kids do? That's where you learn language. You don't learn language from me. You don't learn language from this old man coming up to you going, what's he saying? That's not learning language. But when I'm playing pirates with my friends, they get me, because kids thin slice. And that's where you become a better speaker. You see what I'm talking about here? Build on the strengths and the child will rise. So that's the big assignment for the learning story, and it's tied directly to the stuff we're talking about today. Folks, It doesn't have to be a big, sexy activity. If the kid likes finger painting, do finger painting. And then watch what happens. All right? So it doesn't have to be pirates. Just something that that kid really digs. And build an activity around that and watch what happens. Oh, look at Sandra. Oh, that's almost looks like my Betty. Oh, yeah. Is that a Manitoba mutt there, Sandra?
Yeah, she's a rescue.
Yeah, same with my Betty. She looks almost the same. Oh, my God. Rescues have a lot of needs, don't they? I know I can't go to the washroom without my Betty. She's with me all the time. She's very, very clingy, very needy like you. All right, so that's the big focus. Is everybody clear on that assignment, how that one works?
When do we start it? Like, are we gonna have a time where we go over it, or do we just do it on our own time?
Yeah, so Emma, it would be good if you get going on it now. Sooner rather than later. Here's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid they're going to shut down the daycares in a couple of weeks because people aren't getting their stuff together, right? So let's get this done. Let's get this done. It's only one activity. I've got it all posted in there, but I'm just doing the sort of the Coles Notes chitty chat about it when I'm really, really looking for it. I think, did I post the marking criteria in there, folks? Trisha? Yeah, okay. So go by the marking criteria. But yeah, basically, Emma, pick a kid, do an activity that that kid likes and is good at, document it, take pictures, and tell the story. That's it. Tell me what.
I have a question.
Yes, Kathy.
Our center is looking a little different right now. I'm in the infant program, and we just had a positive COVID case as of yesterday, not with the infants, but in one of our preschool rooms. Long story short, our numbers are extremely low with everything. I have probably starting today only 3 infants in my program, and they're all wonderful. So I'm not sure how to do this assignment, and I am not allowed to go in another cohort.
Yeah, I get that.
I feel I can still do a learning story, but it's just going to look different. It's not going to be on target.
Yeah, no, okay, Kathy, you must have a baby there that, or maybe it's a bunch of the babies, but focus on one baby babies. I'm talking about friendships. Babies have no friends. They're egocentric. They don't care about any. They're so judgmental. That's what makes babies so terrible.
Wonderful.
Right. Come on, folks. I am right. Babies are judgmental. They don't give a darn about it. It's just their own needs. If they were your best friend, you would hate them. I'm just being honest. So, Catherine, maybe there's a kid. Okay, I know you only got. Are you going to have the 3 consistent kids? Okay.
Yeah, they're all 3 of them. Well, 2 of them are 12 months old. The other one's 13 months. So that's what I have right now.
Okay. Well, developmentally, they're going through some weird. Any biters there?
No.
Ah, shoot.
I know, right?
I wish I could text babies and go, okay, you're in Kathy's program. Any way you can bite a kid? I wish I could do that and set it up.
Right.
Do you have any, Kathy, this will be for you to think about, but is there anything that a kid could maybe use a little bit of help with? Or maybe you're going to...
Yeah, at the beginning of this, there was one little boy, and he's like a tank. So like he bulldozes the other girls, and yeah, he's aggressive. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Unfortunately, he's been put in isolation now for the next 2 weeks. So yeah, that's what's going on.
Okay, Kathy, there's a couple things we can do here. All right. And this, I wonder if other people are in the same boat. Maybe you are. But there's a couple things we can do here, Kathy. Think about those 3. If there's some little tiny thing a kid needs a little bit of support in, then that's it. Or if you're comfortable with this, we wait a little bit. We wait a little bit till the tank comes back. Do you know what I mean? We wait a little bit. We hold a little bit till the tank comes back. We find out what's his name, by the way?
Eddie.
I love it. Okay, wait till Eddie comes back, and then do an activity for Eddie,
Okay.
and then watch how it works with the other.
Perfect. Okay. Thank
I
you.
like it. Oh, you know what? I might even suggest, yeah, wait till Eddie. I want to find out more about this guy. I like him. I like him.
Sounds good.
Okay. Are you okay? So, Kathy, let me know. Let me know what you want to decide on there. If there's something that stands out with the three you got, then go ahead. If you want to wait for Eddie, then go ahead. Eddie sounds like it'd be a lot of fun because you know you're going to do physical activities.
Yes. Sounds good.
Yeah, Eddie sounds like a riot. Oh, God. My wife's got an Eddie in her program, so I've heard lots about Eddies right now. they all seem to be like that. Okay, Kathy, thanks for that. Anybody else with a question or comment about getting that thing done? Trisha.
There we go.
There we go.
I'm in infants as well. So it's again, a little bit more different than preschool. So I had one child that I had already identified when I first originally read the assignment, but his last day is Wednesday, so it's not going to work. But it would have been a great opportunity. But we do have another child who's kind of inclusion-ish, but it's more just because she physically, her walking is not the best.
Okay.
But it's not, I mean, she's doing way better now, but that's really my only thought-ish. But so if I did choose her, would I be do something that, like her strength or something that she needs help with?
Trisha, beautiful question. Beautiful question. So if you think she needs a little bit of help with walking, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing you want to work on.
Okay.
What is she good at? What's her passion? And how do we connect that stuff together?
Okay.
That's all we're doing here. Excellent. That really ties stuff up for folks. So thank you for bringing that up. You want to work on the walking. Kathy, when Eddie comes back, it's probably going to be about, like, let's not knock people over. All right. But what are you good at? And then we're going to meld those things together. So with that kid, Trisha, you have to think about, well, what is her thing? What is she into? What's her passion right now? And then whatever her passion is, I'm going to build that in with walking skills.
Okay. Because I was originally kind of thinking like an obstacle course for them with a bunch of different climbing things, different levels, which is something that she needs help with, but it'd also be just fun.
Yeah, Trisha, do you know what she likes? Because I know she's a baby. They like eating and crapping. That's about it. But do you know what she likes?
I have to brainstorm on that more.
Okay.
But I'm sure there's got to be something more than just everything.
Yeah, like, and again, talk to her parents, talk to the people who are in their life. You know what's funny that I've noticed about sometimes babies who are, they need a little bit of support walking. They're good with their hands. Like they're interested in things with it. So I would take something that's good with their hands and then attach it to the walking stuff. So if I was going to do an obstacle course, I'd have something that you could manipulate, you know, or if she likes a certain character, or if she likes a certain kind of activity, I build that into the obstacle course so that draws her in.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'll give you, I can't remember if I mentioned in one of the slides, but I worked with a kid out in the North Coast on Haida Gwaii, and her name was Sarah, and she had cerebral palsy or something like that. So we're working on her walking skills. And the therapist told me to make a tape walking area in the classroom, and she thought it was the stupidest thing. It had no connection to what she was interested in. So on the same day, no word of a lie, on the same day, the kids made a dangerous obstacle course outside with boards that would fall off tires and chairs and stuff like that. Well, guess who got on it? Because she wanted danger. She wanted a little danger. Walking on a tape line is not dangerous. So mixing the passion and the interest with what you're hoping to get. I've got some really terrible stories about kids with cerebral palsy and how I've worked with them, so I'm always a little scared of that. I'm known as a guy that sent a girl flying down a hill in a wheelchair and she landed on her head, but that's another story. Once we get to know each other, I'll tell more about that. All right, so good questions there. Oh, Crystal's laptop's going. She had to reset. Okay, no worries. We got this recorded. Any other questions or comments? I don't want to talk about the other assignment, the intercultural mentorship assignment. I want to talk about that next week if that's okay, because then we're more into diversity. And basically that assignment is call up somebody, talk to somebody who comes from a different culture than yourself, and then have a chitty chat. Right? And answer a couple questions. That's all that is. Trisha Vince.
Is it okay if it's not a picture of the child? Because my inclusion just so happens to be Foster as well, and I can't take pictures of him.
Yeah. Trisha, great question there. I don't need to see the kid. Show me the hands. Show me the object that they were using. I don't have to see the face. If you notice some of my learning stories, I don't have any faces. I just have like their hands and the work that they're doing. Because again, when I was working at Ann Ross, we had a lot of foster kids. So no, that works perfectly, Trisha. You're going to have to be a little bit more artful, like just going to focus on the ball or whatever you're using, but that's going to work beautifully. Yeah, thanks for that, Trish. Any other questions? Any questions from Larissa? I want to bug Larissa. Is that okay? Like, I don't know her very well. Is this good? Like, is it funny to bug her, or is she a tough one? Is she a mean one? Do you know? Okay. All right. I guess I'll hear about it later on Teams. Okay. So today's it's just strengths, focusing on that. King Gimp is a beautiful example of what happens when you build someone on their strengths, for heaven's sakes. You're going to get the whole picture of what we're talking about. You're going to love that movie. You're going to love some of the other resources I have in there. Pardon me, but maybe I should look at the dang. Okay, wait a sec. Give me a second here. I just want to also highlight a couple of other ones. In my language. Watch In My Language. Watch it. It's incredible. It's an incredible film. It's weird. It's made by a woman with autism, and she walks you through why people with autism communicate with the world like that. It's a mind blower, folks, okay? And she made the film herself. It's all done herself. I follow her, and she's an incredible person. So check out In My Language. Unbelievable. Because, for some reason, people get weirded out by autism. And once you watch this movie, you'll go, oh, I get it. We're so limited. You and I, if you're not on the autism spectrum, we're so limited. I only see the world a certain way. Here, I don't feel the world like some of those folks do. So anyways, have a look at that. That's a goodie. Amazing Things Happen is a goodie. It's also about that. And We All Belong is just a nice little commercially video. Next class, tomorrow, I'm going to ask you to watch Positively Autistic. Another, just makes you think differently about people. All right, I had a question here. Sorry. My daycare doesn't allow me to pay. Okay, yeah, so we answered that one. I hope that answered that where, Crystal, don't need the faces. All right? Don't need the faces. Especially your daycare, Crystal. Your kids aren't very good looking. So I'd rather you not show the faces there, because it's been rated as one of the ugliest kids in the city daycare center I read the other day. So, Crystal, I appreciate that. Jasmine Vandine. So our learning story is just one child who has some struggles. Yeah, so Jasmine, one kid that needs a little support, his activity or her activity that you found out what you do that activity, watch what happens. Watch what happens. Take pictures. Watch what happens. That's it. All right. I think we're doing good. Okay. So I did a little highlight of what's going to be in that. I had a bunch of questions, but I think I'll only add one question. I'm going to give you a big loaded question. Just one big old loaded question. What does it mean? What does inclusion mean to you? What does it mean to be included? I had in the PowerPoint slides for today, you had to think about when you were excluded. Everybody in this room was excluded at one point in your life, right? Didn't go to someone's birthday party or something like that. So we know how that feels to be excluded. We know how that feels to be included. So to you, how would you define inclusion? What's inclusion to you? Crystal, to walk into a room with an inclusion child, yeah. So let's not call them inclusion kids anymore from here on in. We're not going to do that because everybody's included. We don't care. And you're absolutely right, Crystal. Don't know. You walk in, you don't know who it is because everyone's buzzing, everyone's humming, people getting into trouble, people not getting into trouble. They don't have an add-on attached to them. Can I tell a funny story? Oh God, I hope you guys don't hate me. But I walked into this daycare center and this little toddler had one of those purple foam helmets on, you know, those full purple foam helmets. And I said, why's that kid got a helmet on? And the EC said, well, it stops him from hitting his head and things, and he's having a hard time getting his head around stuff. He's got a big head. And I went, oh yeah, well, that's curious. I said, what's his name? And she said, Liam. And I said, the kid's Scottish. He's Irish. Irish Scottish people, we have big heads. All right, we got big heads. It's not a disability. It's called being Irish or Scottish, for heaven's sakes. And Liam is going to need to know how to move his head through space without bashing it like I did. Oh, I got so mad. And I asked the EC, I said, what's the size of his dad's head? And they go, yeah, it's pretty big. I said, does he wear a helmet? Yeah, maybe you need to talk to the family. It's kind of goofy. He's going to get some bruises. He's Irish. We can take it. All righty. Megan Workington. Thank you for laughing, by the way. Sometimes people look at me shocked and because I've got horror stories about inclusion, which I think are funny. You know, life is funny. But people look at me with just horror in their eyes. Megan, when society doesn't apply labels, man, eh? I hope when you have a grandchild, Megan, that there'll be no labels then. You know, and that's what we're working towards here. The labels are ridiculous. They're stupid. You guys have probably had labels slapped on you. A label doesn't define you, right? It's not who you are. People would call me a bald guy with glasses, you know? Yeah, but that's not who I am, right? I'm much bigger than that. So, Megan, you're absolutely right. Emma.
I guess when it comes to like when children are like discussing things or if there's a problem, instead, like obviously yes, children will come to you for help, but if it's like a particular child that you know, like or that the children know that it does have like some difficulties in something, being included, I guess, is them talking to that child instead of just coming to a staff order saying so and so did this or said this, I need help, but instead like they don't try to communicate with them, because if they don't try, then that child's never gonna learn to play with that other child respectively. Yeah, because I guess that like having like other children being able to communicate with that child, I guess what I'm saying, and not have the need to always come to his staff to help with that just particular child compared to any other children.
Just like anybody else, right, Emma? Just like anybody else. I always, my whole approach to inclusion is nobody's special. Nobody's special. So I don't care who you are. If you get yourself into trouble, you're going to get yourself into trouble. You're going to have to figure yourself out of that just like anybody else. I ain't going to help you. I'm going to guide you like I would anybody else, right? And that's absolutely it. That's when you know what's really happening, Emma, when they're dealing with it themselves, when they understand each other. Or when they know that if I take that kid's block, he is going to lose his crap. And so I'm not going to. That's when you know what's happening. But also, when it does happen, how do we deal with that? And again, they're not special. You're not special. When I would do this in real time, I would bring Scott out to my class, right? And if you ever saw me speak at the MCCA I did a keynote on inclusion, and Scott joined me at the end and sang. And Scott, I always ask him when he comes in, he said, Scott, are you special? And he looks at his flippers and he goes, how's this special? This isn't special. I'm just a human being, for heaven's sakes. Think about that. Think about how sometimes we treat them a little bit specially. All right. And Emma, you're absolutely bang on. Once they can communicate with each other, hence why I'm doing this learning story assignment. Because their friendships, little friendships are going to happen. They'll work through the little troubles in a natural, normal way. Thank you, Emma. That's beautifully put. Okay. Anybody else with sort of their idea of, yes, who said that? Trisha. Special. We all got special needs, don't we? If I don't have my glasses on, I can't do it. I can't drive a car. I can't do, but nobody puts that on a pedestal, right? I don't get it is very, you're right, Trisha. I think it's very demeaning because we all have needs. We all have things that we're struggling with and we forget about that, but that does not define us. But yet for some people it defines them. I don't get it. We had my wife and I had a funny encounter because she's also very, very into inclusion. And we were walking down Main Street, and at Main and Mountain, the bus came out, and I guess there's a workshop with a bunch of people with unrecognized abilities work, I guess. There seemed to be a whole bunch of folks, Down syndrome folks, right? And so they come out of the bus, and I wear a hat. I wear a jaunty hat, and I look really, really good. And I'm walking past this guy, and he starts laughing. And I look at him, and I go, are you laughing at me? And he goes, yeah. And I said, well, why are you laughing at me? He says, you look weird. There's a guy with Down syndrome. And I went, I look weird. And then we had a laugh. And my wife said, oh my God, you are inclusive. I mean, you bring it on. All right, when is the learning story due? Yes, Trisha Vincent. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Let's make it at the end. When was our last class? December 2nd? Because I don't want to put a due date on that, like a rigid due date in case it freaks people out, in case people like Kathy are getting themselves in a bit of trouble to have their kids and stuff. So can we make it all due like December 2nd? Does that answer it okay, Trisha Vincent? Yes, what the hell's happening here? Oh, there we go.
December 7th?
Oh, is that our last
Day.
day?
I think that's our last day.
Is it the 7th is our last day or the 2nd?
The second day.
How many classes do we have, Mark?
We have 6 classes, I believe. I don't pay attention. I'm
Yeah,
like,
the 7th.
no, the
the 7th
7th.
would be
Okay,
the
so
last class.
Trisha was right, backed up by Masha. We'll make everything due by the 7th, and then everything's negotiable from there. Okay? Because again, the kid you're going to pick, you're going to do, then they're going to be sick, and then they're going to be gone. And then I don't want people going, ah! We'll hopefully by the 7th. That way gives you enough time. I would move really fast, so I would move as fast as I can to get it done. You know, as I said, it's just one activity. It's just what you do. Just one activity, document it, and worry about writing the story later. Okay? All right. And don't forget, we have a work class too. And I'll be helping folks. You can send me drafts and all that other kinds. I do that all the time. People send me drafts, and then I give comments, and off we go. Okay. No. Oh, good for you, Trisha Vincent. Well, you're ahead of the game, girl. That's all right. That's okay, Trisha. Everybody in the room hates you right now. Like everybody. You know, even Larissa. Larissa just hates you right now. Oh, my God. So... Okay. Oh, clever. Okay, clever. All right, any other thoughts about what inclusion means to you? Watch Larissa come out and say the most mind-blowing definition. And then we'll go, what? What? Oh my God. I wonder if I'm going to hear about her later. Okay.
I think for me, inclusion just means just treating everybody the way you want to be treated, no matter anything. Nothing matters. It's just how you even treat people and how those people treat others, and people are just people.
It's just the dignity and respect. That's all that is. The dignity and respect to make good decisions and bad decisions and live a full life. Yeah. I always look at things, what's like the kids you guys have in your program, all right? And all of them, but let me just focus on the kids with unrecognized abilities. What's their story, as I mentioned in my PowerPoint? What's their story going to be here? Is it going to be a story of helplessness? Is it going to be a story of loneliness, or is it going to be a story of strength and someone living a full life? So I'm absolutely with you on that, Tricia. It's just everybody, as I say in that very first class, the whole term inclusion is ridiculous because that means we're inviting somebody. We're all in. We're all in. I live my life like this. You live your life like that. You know, and that's the way it is. And again, why I like working with the adult community, because I want to think about, well, what are we working towards? Did you guys watch that video I had posted? I think it's called Day in the Life, and it's the guy with Down syndrome and his support worker. How stupid the world is.
That was the best video. Like, it totally changed my perspective completely. And at the end, when he's like, what the hell is this guy's problem? Like, it was hilarious. Like, very good. Very nice.
He's having a beer. He's having a Budweiser. Yeah, it is. That's exactly what Trish was talking about. The world is weird because we look at folks differently instead of going, no, we're all the same. My wife was blown away. She hates heavy metal. And I had tickets to go see Slayer. I played with Slayer years ago, like they opened up for them years ago back in Toronto. So I wanted to see them again. And it's all satanic. And my wife was like a little weirded out going, oh my God, what are we walking into? And we went into the arena and she was blown away by these folks in wheelchairs with breathing apparatuses and communication boards and Slayer shirts and everybody going up to them going, Slayer. Nobody caring. Nobody, hey, you're here. You're a metal fan. That's all that matters, right? We all look weird.
My Uncle Paul used to work, like, I don't know if he was a support worker or respite or what, but I just remember when I was growing up, he always had what I knew as just one of his friends. Like, I only realized that he was a support worker when I was like in high school, but I always thought it was just one of his buddies. And I always thought it was really weird when my family would be like, oh, why is he drinking? Like, why are you guys smoking together? And why are you guys hanging out? Why are you going bowling together? And he'd be like, because he's the same age as me and we like to do the same things. What do you mean? And I always thought it was so weird. I was looking at my mom and be like, why are you asking him that? Like, you wouldn't ask him if he took me bowling. Like, I don't get it. And they were just, he would even come to family functions. Like, he was just one of his like best friends by that point. And it was really weird, just the different reactions he would get all the time.
Yeah, no, and so that if you haven't seen that A Day in the Life, you'll get it. You'll totally get it. It's weird. I'll tell you a quick little story. I used to work in a group home with people with schizophrenia, and I used to take the men shopping. And so they got a family benefits check, and we go shopping. So what I do is I take them to the Oshawa Shopping Center in Oshawa, Ontario, and I would say, listen, okay, guys, you got $30 each. Why don't we get the cheapest clothes possible? So maybe get around $15, you know, we'll get some discount clothes and stuff like that. And then with the money left over, we'll hit the bar. And we'll have a couple of beers, right? Because we're men. we're all around the same age. Some of them are a little bit older. And what do you do when you go shopping? You go for a beer. And so we pool up our money. Oh my God, we got enough for a couple of rounds of beer. So we go and have a drink like regular dudes, you know, and we'd have a little talk that you can't tell anyone what we did. That's probably unethical, but you can't tell anyone because I'm drinking on the job, and you're probably not supposed to drink to begin with. So if we ever want to do this again, we're just going to keep our mouth shut. And so we'd come home, and then the next week we go, are we going shopping again? It was just fun. It's about being human beings with humans. And again, I forget who wrote about getting rid of the labels, but that's what we're all working towards. Those things are terrible. I like weird people. And I'm afraid that we're moving into a world where there's no more weird people anymore. And that's going to be a sad world. So, all right, we had another little comment here. Sorry about that, Emma. My center has a book called Zest for Life. Oh, I've never heard of that. About a kid who has Down syndrome. And when we were allowed to have books, my kids like to read it a lot. When we were allowed to have books, okay, you have damn books in your center there, Emma? What the hell's going on there?
Well, just due to COVID, since books can't really be sanitized, we can't have them like on the shelf anymore. So like we have like the tape stories, but just that book in particular was just like a reading picture book, but we can't have the books out for them to look at.
And the kids like it because it's a nice inclusive message, I imagine.
Yeah, the kids really enjoyed it. We had a lot of different ones because like we don't have, because in my center it's like a countryside center, and in my program now we have one different ethnic child. So I mean our children haven't really grown up around it, so we've had like a lot of books around like different cultures and abilities and stuff like that for them to learn about.
Good for you. Good. Literature is a beautiful way of doing that, Emma. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, we've got Ashley again from Selkirk. Her mom worked as a sport worker at a high school in Selkirk. She would take the nonverbal kids out in the hall during the class and skip class with them. Oh, I love your mom. Like just like this, like don't spread rumors. Like I got enough troubles. All right. So I love your mom. She sounds like a lot of fun. Ran skip class with them, joke around and swear, and they all loved it. Oh my golly, my God. I love that because again, okay, I'll tell you another funny story. We were in St. Paul, Minnesota, me, Scott, Trevor, who's somewhere on the autism spectrum. He plays bass. People call him autistic. I just call him a bass player. If you've ever met a bass player, they're all pretty much like that. So Scott never swore because he was institutionalized since birth. Never swore. Not very nice because don't forget, in those days, they used to train people to be polite, be proper, be accommodating. Well, you better learn your swear words because someone's going to try to take your freedom away from you and you're going to have to stand up for yourself. So it took about 4 beers in this bar in St. Paul, Minnesota, but we finally got Scott to say the F word. And do you think we could get him to stop? No, after about 6 beers, it got pretty bad. It got really bad, actually. We're going, whoa, can't use that one. That's not appropriate. All right, I love your mom there, Ashley. And weird is better than boring. Yeah. Oh, I agree. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, Ashley, you seem to be the weirdo too. So, of course.
There was actually one time I remember specifically, my mom had this girl with her and she's in a wheelchair, nonverbal. Like it's one of the wheelchairs when I don't remember what her diagnosis was, but she just had trouble moving her entire body. And so she was nonverbal as well. And my mom was like, running up and down the hallways with the wheelchair, just like zooming around like they were on a racetrack. And one of the teachers started getting mad at her for it. So she went and brought her outside, and I was walking up to the school because I was skipping class. And my mom comes and she sees me on the sidewalk and she just starts like shit talking me with the kid she was with. And I was like, what the heck? She's like, look at this kid skipping fucking class. And she's like going off with this girl. And this girl's in her wheelchair, like laughing so hard, she has tears coming out of her eyes. It was hilarious. But also that Crowboy book that was in your PowerPoints, we actually have that one at my center. And it took me a long time. I was like, why do I know this book? And then I found it because I found it at the thrift store in town and I had bought it a long time ago, but I never actually read it. until then, but we have that one.
It was written in 1964 or something like that, or 66. It's the best book on inclusion I've ever come across. He's one of my favorite kids writers anyways. But yeah, thank you for bringing that up. And thank you just again, it's about the humanness of each other. It's about how and it's touching on Trisha's thing, is when we really do live in a place where we don't care about that stuff. We're all just trying to figure out how to be a human being, for heaven's sakes here. Then real things happen like that. No book will ever tell you in inclusion that it's appropriate to work with high school kids and swear with them. But we know that's the right thing if you know that kid, right? If that's really, really important. I'll end with this terrible story, and I can't remember if I mentioned it in one of my narrative PowerPoint slideshows. Did I talk about Sarah in the wheelchair in the hill? Yeah, I think that's a good story, right? Where, do you guys remember? Did you hear that one? Where Sarah in a wheelchair, she had cerebral palsy. She wanted to experience a hill like all the other kids, right? But I forgot to belt her into the wheelchair. I had to snip it in. I had a lot going on. It was a busy morning, all right? Like none of you guys. Look at you. Look at you. Oh, none of you guys make those mistakes. It was a busy morning. So I forgot to strap her in, and I let her go down halfway down the hill because the other kids were doing it. So she wanted to try it. Halfway down the hill was great. And she wanted one more. So I took her right to the top of the hill, gave her a little push, and she hit a speed wobble, left her chair and landed on her head, and everybody looked at me like I just killed the disabled kid, right? And so instantly I went, "Whoa, oh my God, Sarah, that's an amazing crash. Wow." And then all the other kids were going, "Oh, Sarah, that was amazing. What an amazing crash." And she's got just a little nick on her head, just a little nick. And we get her into the wheelchair, and all the kids are around her, right? Because they thought she died. And they're going, "Oh, we thought she died." They go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa. No, it just looked like it, everybody. No, she's okay. Don't tell your folks that I almost killed her, all right? That's not going to be cool, you know? Maybe a little chocolate cookie at the end of the day, all right? We just keep our mouth shut." So I always put the Band-Aid on her. And I made a big bandage on her because I didn't need it. But I put big gauze Band-Aid on because I don't know if she's ever going to have a Band-Aid on her head. She's probably going to be with more skilled people in her life. So I put a big old bandage around her head. And when we got back to the daycare, it was pretty amazing because the kids weren't weirded out by Sarah, but it was weird having someone in her room who was in a wheelchair and couldn't speak. And now she's the kid that went flying out of her wheelchair because her arms don't move. So she landed right on her head, flying out of the wheelchair. She was known as, oh my God, Trisha, what the hell's going on behind you? There's a cat like jumping.
My cat likes shadows.
Oh, so anyways, what was cool was when we had snack, all the bad boys wanted to sit with Sarah, because she was the cool one. And that changed the relationship. That changed the relationship forever with those kids and Sarah in our classroom, because she was always seen as the bravest, almost died in daycare, had a cut on her head, and blood was spilled, and she was tough. And so that changed the relationship. Yeah, the mom came, and I had to explain to the mom, I forgot to belt her in, and I whipped her down a hill, and the mom cried because she just wants her kid to have the same opportunities as all the other kids. Going at Trisha's point, I don't care if you're in a wheelchair. I don't care if you got braces. I don't care if you can't speak. If there's a hill, you probably want to go down it somehow. And you might have a little accident like everybody else, right? And that every kid has the right to have a boo-boo or a bad accident. And we just had the most amazing talk. And she said, I don't know if she'll ever get a cut on her head. And I was talking about how, you know, Sarah's going to be in a wheelchair probably all of her life till we figure out some other way of getting people around. So she better know everything about that damn wheelchair. So I did her a favor. Anyways, was a little story touching on what Tricia had brought up and what I see as inclusion. Yeah, I see inclusion as friendship. I see inclusion as a place where we all acknowledge each other and respect each other, no matter our weirdness. All right. Thank you, Kathy. Yeah, I'm quite well known for that story. It turned out fine. She's fine. She's all cool. All right, belt them in, everybody. My story was there to teach you a lesson. Belt them in, no matter how busy your morning is. All righty?
I
All
made
right,
a
belt
mistake
them
like
in.
that once. I was horrified. And it was worse. It was a baby, too. Because it was when I was nannying, and then I picked her up from her grandma's house, and then the grandma's like, "Oh, I didn't belt her in." I'm like, "Okay, I'll just do it in the car," and I wasn't looking where I was going, and then she fell out of her car seat. I was like mortified. I was just like, "Oh my god!" I felt terrible. Never made that mistake again, but oh my god, it was scary.
Yeah, it's amazing how smart you get. Right? All my wisdom comes from my mistakes. So no problem there. That's all good stuff. All right, everybody. We have any finishing comments or questions or wonderings? Tricia, yep.
I figured that this would probably be a good opportunity to mention this because we're talking about inclusion.
Yeah.
With my experience working with the adults, and like I don't know how to put this best in words, but just like raising any child, you know, the more love that child has, the more you push them for their capabilities, that, you know, the children are capable of, you know, everything. And I think it's same goes for any child, whether they have a disability or not. So just with my experience, like I was able to see that the adults that I did work with, the ones that, you know, were able to be raised by the parents, who were loved, who were told that they were able to be, that they were capable of getting a job or doing this and doing that. Like, there's such a big difference just with those two things, just by being loved and being told that you're capable.
Yeah, thank you for that, Tricia. It's actually a beautiful way to end this. Love is incredible. And that's just the skill set we need. That's it. It's just love. And I think I mentioned that last time, you know, what would love do as sort of your question on how you're interacting with something. I think that's a really important way of looking at stuff. You're built through love. My wife used to work as an EA and had this tough kid named Walter. And I could tell when it was a bad day because Walter gave her he was so good. He gave her a magnet picture of himself, you know, the school pictures. Gave her a magnet picture of herself. They had a very tortured relationship. All love. But I could tell when things were bad when I'd come home from work when Walter's picture was turned around on the refrigerator and the wine's already open. And I go, oh no, bad Walter day, right? And she had a bunch of those. And then he's finished with her. A year goes past. Knock on the door. There's big Walter coming in to have a coffee with my wife. Love. He never forgot it. He never forgot how they got along. Sometimes they didn't, but it was always based on love and respect. I still see Walter. He's an incredible, cool guy. What would love do? Yeah, Tricia, man, that's the answer to all this stuff. The other Tricia also had a beautiful example about that. That's what we're in the business of today. And this, I got to say, this has been one of the weirdest class. I have in the background of Emma Filions, a weird thing going on behind her there. And then Tricia and her cats jumping off. Jasmine looking like she's being attacked by a dog. Oh my God, this was one of the weirdest ones I've had. Okay. Oh, Tricia, I had a parent who gave the staff Christmas gifts of a bottle of wine and a wine glass, and on the wine glass said, "I'm sorry, my child is the reason you drink." Those are pretty cool parents. Those are cool parents. I would prefer a bong, but we'll talk about that later. All righty. Oh, like that's a surprise to you guys. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, I think it explains a lot. All right, 420. All right, moving on before I get into trouble. All right. Oh, it's all legal now. That's right. Okay. All right, I'm going to say my goodbyes to everybody. If there's no other comment, this was lovely, by the way, guys. I love chatting with you. I absolutely love it. My wife was saying to me this morning, boy, you're up early in an excited mood. I said, because I got this class that actually keeps the cameras on. We can talk. We can have a conversation. It feels human. So I really appreciate that from you guys. And I love what you guys bring up. And Masha, I won't beat you to the punch, okay? I'm going to hold off posting stuff. If you guys come across something on social media, post it on there. That's the Flipgrid question for tomorrow, so we won't do that. But the Flipgrid question for today is just what we've been talking about. Think about a kid where you built them on their strengths. Give a quick little story of when you did something with a kid that they were good at and what happened. That will help us with the learning story, but it also sort of ties everything in together for today's class. All right, any questions, comments? Oh, you guys are I love your style, Emma Filion. You're just, yeah, all right, that's him. All right, mix him and Trisha's cat. Wouldn't that be fun? Oh, and Jasmine's bull terrier or whatever the heck that. Oh, God, we'd have a good time. And then we have Crystal and her beautiful little cat. All right, everybody, I'm going to say my goodbyes. Stay in touch on Teams, folks. All right, please stay in touch on Teams. And remember, watch King Gimp. You're going to love that one. I love that guy. If you're so inclined, give him a little shout out. He's a cool guy. Don't you love living in a world that you can watch a movie and then go contact the guy? Pretty neat, pretty neat. All right, I'm going to say my goodbye. Oh, Emma, did you have your hand up? I'm sorry, there's a hand up thing here.
That was a while ago.
Okay, did we get to you? Did you? Okay, right on, Emma. All right, right on, sister. All right, Emma, have yourself a lovely day. Thank you for sharing all your stuff. I sure appreciate that. I wrote down the name of the book. Oh, no, I didn't. What was the name of that book again?
The Zest for Life. I'm pretty sure it's orange, and it has the kid on the front, and I think he's wearing a blue or purple shirt.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'm always collecting good books on inclusion, so I appreciate that. All right, Emma. Thank you. Ashley Jeanson, still keep being that weird Ashley Jeanson. The world needs a lot more weirdos like you and I. At least I think. Yeah. Right on, sister. Kathy, thank you for smiling and laughing at my silly jokes, and thank you for bringing up that great question about the assignment, and good luck. You got some time to think about it, so keep in touch with me about what you decide, all right? Or you kick a baby, you hurt their leg, and oh, they got a funny leg now, and now I do an activity with them. Or not. That's probably a bad idea. Oh, my God, look what's going on at Crystal's house. Oh, golly. Okay, Crystal, good luck over there with your beautiful dog and cat that doesn't seem to like what's going on. I like cats. They're cool. Emma, Filion, and Ethan, have yourselves a great day, Ethan. This is Santa Claus. You be good, you. Yeah. Yeah.
Bye, Mark.
Okay, bye-bye, Emma. Bye-bye, Ethan. Jasmine. Have yourself a lovely day. I love watching you on camera. I think I've pretty much seen all your house today. All right, Jody Black, have yourself a lovely day. Larissa, I hope you have a good day, Larissa. It's been a lot of fun with you today, and all the best to you and your family. Say hi to your mother for me. Did that come out okay? I don't think that came out okay. All right. Masha. Okay, I'm not going to beat you. All right, so if you find something, you put that in there. I appreciate that, Masha. Megan, thank you for being the first one here. Thank you for being the person that sets the tone with the camera. I love that. Riley, I hope you have yourself a lovely day out there. Salin, good that you're here. I hope you have a lovely day. Trisha, as always, it's lovely to talk with you and sharing your stuff. That cat was the most hilarious thing I've seen. Oh my God, you couldn't have planned it better. All right, everybody. Have yourself a lovely day. Keep in touch.